James Wood. He is the co-writer of Rev, the BBC TV series. It comes back for a third session tomorrow night on BBC Two at 10 o'clock. Well, Steve Hall, who was a vicar in Southampton until a couple of years ago, is now the vicar of Lewisham in South London, a parish not unlike St Saviour's, the fictional parish in Hackney, where the Reverend Adam Smallburn is based. Steve, good morning.
Good morning to you, Tim.
Steve, for you, just how close to reality is Rev?
It's wonderful. I mean, it's frighteningly close. I think I'd sort of say if the Vicar of Dibley is gentle and Father Ted is mad, Rev is real. I mean, it just seems to hit all the buttons. They've obviously done their research on it. They must have some good contacts to get the inside info.
It talks quite a lot in the series, which I absolutely love, about the relationships in all their different ways. So let's just have a look at some of these networks of relationships. Let's start with parishioners. That, you know, there's the Colin, who's the alcoholic, who's always trying to go on the straight and narrow, turns up to all the prayer meetings and everything, because it's his whole life, and various other people who, you know, come and go.
Yeah.
Do parishes have people like that?
I think I'd have to say in the nicest way, and I'm hoping that not too many from the parish can listen to this up in Lewisham, but maybe some are. But we've certainly got Nigel, who's the reader, Colin, who's the drinker, Adoa, Jimmy the vagrant. I mean, you can see parallels with all of those people here in Lewisham. And on the whole, they're good people, and they're good relationships. They can go wrong. Our equivalent of Colin the drinker has been quite a problem, and actually just a couple of months ago we came to church just after 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning to find him having sex on the church steps. So not quite what you were expecting as you prepare for prayer, but the police came along and dealt with that. So in a sense, Rev, it seems more extreme, but actually that is the reality in places like Lewisham.
And one of the things that strikes me, and I think this is true everywhere, and I speak as a vicar myself, as you know, Steve, is that Adam, he gets scammed by all of these people. They all get the better of him, but actually he sees part of his priesthood, part of his ministry is to allow himself to be got the better of. Yeah,
and I think that's really interesting. I wouldn't quite see myself as a doormat to be walked over, and I think he doesn't either, which is why he then gets angry and he needs to go for a fag or a drink. But I think, you know, the whole job really is based on relationships, and relationships are messy, but equally relationships, you know, are what make us tick, and it's through those relationships that he does what he does. And clearly in the series, everybody values him with all his faults and his weaknesses, and you sort of hope that, you know, just the same here, with all my faults and weaknesses, that people value what you're trying to do, even if you don't always get it right.
Do you think the more fallible clergy are, the more they're loved?
In some ways. I'm sure that we irritate the hell out of people as well when we don't get things right. But yeah, I think the other side of that, though, Tim, is that people can put you on a pedestal, and that can cause the problems in the relationships too, because people then feel let down when you're not everything that they want you to be.
Yeah, and to mix our metaphors, when you fall off your pedestal, you tend to break your feet of clay.
Indeed.
The other network of relationships is with the powers that are.
Yeah.
And in the new series, there's a very powerful lady rural dean and a very powerful diocesan secretary who's also a lady. And in that clip, Adam is sandwiched between them in the back of a taxi. They're playing church politics. He's trying to serve people. Without wanting to get ourselves into too much trouble, is that an accurate portrayal of contemporary leadership in the Church of England?
I don't know. I think it can be. And again, as you say, we've got to be careful. I have an area dean here who's a woman priest, who's Jane, who probably won't be listening, but if she does listen at some point, she's very good, and she's not like the character in the clip that I heard, which made me giggle. But I think all the hierarchy and ourselves, we can get into this sort of management speak and jargon about, you know, let's look at being church here. And what on earth does that mean to most people who come to church? So the need to burst our bubbles and make us laugh at ourselves is very important, and in a sense that's what the series tries to do. But I mean, again, here the leadership, I think, is genuinely caring. The bishop cares for us as clergy, and again, I can say that because he's not likely to be listening, so I'm not trying to earn brownie points.
Sorry, we'll send in the link on iPlayer.
I will.
So we can dob you in. And finally, in the vicarage, Olivia Colman playing the vicar's long-suffering wife. How accurate is all of that in the Hall household?
Well, as you know my wife, Tim, and she is listening, I need to be extremely careful. But it is, I mean, again, it's true. The demands that people have on the life of the priest impact immensely on the priest's family. I happen to be the first married priest they've had here in 70 years, so they've had to get used to the fact that I do have some boundaries, whereas they've had single priests who were simply always available. But yeah, I mean, my daughter loves the series as well. She's brought me the box sets, so we watch it again time and time because it rings true, and we can laugh at it, and maybe also try and learn from it as well.
Brilliant, Steve. Thank you very much indeed. That's Steve Hall. He was a team vicar in central Southampton. He's now the vicar of St Mary's in Lewisham, reflecting on the new series 3 of Rev. It's on BBC Two at 10 o'clock tomorrow night, and I have to say that I can't wait to see it. What makes a good vicar? That would be a question to ask. 81333. James Wood, he is the